You ever feel like you're kind of just going through the motions, a little disconnected from, yourself and the world around you? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into some pretty deep wisdom from the spiritual master Sadhguru. We're talking about a framework that could honestly change how you see, well, everything, from where your own body ends and the universe begins, all the way to the meaning of life and death itself. So let's get into it.
All right, so let's kick things off with a huge question, maybe the most fundamental question. Where do you stop and the rest of the universe start? I mean, the obvious answer is your skin, right? That's the boundary. But what if it's not that simple? What if that line is way more blurry than we think? So this is where Sadhguru comes in with a pretty mind-bending idea. He says your sense of self, it's not really about your physical body. It's about the boundary of your sensation. Think about it for a second. Anything you can actually feel, you call that me. It's part of your experience. But anything outside of that feeling, that sensation, like, say, the chair you're sitting on right now, that's not me. That's the other. Okay, but here's where it gets really cool. That boundary, it's not set in stone. It can actually expand. Just think back to a time you felt absolute pure joy. Maybe you were laughing so hard you couldn't breathe, or you were just completely swept up in a moment. In states like that, your energy is so high that your sensory body, your feeling of you, can literally expand beyond your physical skin.
And that right there, that potential to expand your senses, that's the real heart of what yoga is all about. See, it's not just about the postures and the stretches. Sadhguru calls it a science of inclusion. The whole point, the ultimate goal, is to consciously dissolve those boundaries of me and not me until you experience the entire universe as a part of yourself. Wild, right?
So yeah, this totally flips the script on what most of us think of as yoga. It shifts it from being just a physical workout to, well, a profound way of being. It's not about how well you can twist your body into a pretzel. It's about something way bigger, consciously expanding your experience until you feel a real union with, everything.
And what's interesting is that Sadhguru says this desire to expand, to include more into ourselves, is a core human drive. It's this one fundamental energy that just shows up in different ways. So on a physical level, it expresses itself as sexuality. On an emotional level, that same longing is what we call love. Mentally, it's our ambition, our drive to achieve and conquer. But when that exact same longing becomes fully conscious, when it's unlimited, that's yoga.
Okay, so if that's the goal, this ultimate state of union, how in the world do we actually get there? Well, the secret, it seems, is getting the four main parts of who we are to all pull in the same direction. And there's this great old yogic story that explains this perfectly.
So the story goes, there are these four yogis, and each one is completely dedicated to a different path. You've got the Gnana yogi, who's all about intellect, the Bhakti yogi, who's pure emotion and devotion, the Karma yogi, who's all about action and the body, and the Kriya yogi, who works with transforming internal energy. And the key thing to know is, these guys usually can't stand each other. They all think their way is the only way.
So one day, this crazy massive storm just rolls in out of nowhere. And what happens? All four of these rivals end up running for cover in the exact same old rundown temple. Suddenly, they're all forced together in one tiny space, something that would never ever happen normally. They're all just trying to get out of the rain.
But the storm is relentless. The rain starts lashing in from every side, through every crack in the walls. There's literally nowhere to hide, no dry spot left. So what do? Their only option is to keep moving closer and closer to the very center of the temple, until finally, all four of them are huddled up together, basically hugging the statue of the deity that's right in the middle.
And in that exact moment, the very instant they all came together, God appears and says, "At last, you four idiots got together." The takeaway here is so powerful. Real breakthroughs, real progress on the spiritual path, it doesn't happen until we get our own four inner idiots, our mind, our heart, our body, and our energy, to stop fighting and finally start working together as one.
So when we actually manage to do that, to get those four inner wheels of ours aligned and moving in sync, something amazing happens. We find the key to unlock a trap that, as Sadhguru puts it, we build for ourselves, piece by piece, every single day, without even realizing it.
And what is that trap? Well, he says the very foundation of this prison we live in is our endless stream of likes and dislikes. You know how it is. I like this, I hate that. This person is good, that situation is bad. By doing this constantly, we're just chopping up the world into little pieces. We're not really experiencing reality as it is, we're just experiencing our own judgments about reality.
And you know what else this inner chaos causes? Stress. So much stress. We love to blame things on the outside, right? Our job is stressful, our family is stressful, our life situation is stressful. But if you look at it this way, all that outside stuff, that's maybe, 10% of the problem each. The huge chunk, the other 70% of our stress, it's coming from one place and one place only. Our own inability to manage our inner world, our thoughts, our feelings, our own system.
Okay, so this whole journey, learning to align ourselves on the inside, learning to see past our own mental games, it's all leading somewhere. It's preparing us to completely reframe our relationship with the one thing, the one final horizon that every single one of us has to face, death.
So let's play with a pretty wild idea for a moment. We're so attached to our bodies, aren't we? We think, this is me, this body is who I am. But what if that's a huge misunderstanding? What if we've got the whole thing wrong?
Here's the powerful way Sadhguru puts it. This body isn't something you own. It's not a possession. Think about it. It's literally just a piece of the earth. It's soil, it's water, it's all the food you've eaten. Essentially, your body is a loan you've taken out from the planet. And like any loan, one day it has to be paid back.
And here's the kicker. How you live your life determines how you repay that loan. If you live a wonderful, full, vibrant life, then when the time comes, you can give the loan back joyfully, with grace. But if you waste your life, if you squander it in misery and conflict and fear, well, that final moment of repayment is going to be terrifying.
So, if you look at it this way, death isn't really an ending at all. It's just a transition. It's life moving from one state to another. And maybe, just maybe, the most beautiful thing about it is that it's the one part of life that's still completely pure. It's the one thing our human minds haven't been able to mess up with all our crazy ideas and beliefs. Think about it. Almost everything in your life, you get a do-over. You can try again tomorrow. But this final act of life, this transition, you only get one shot. So the level of awareness, the quality of consciousness you bring to that one single moment, it's incredibly important. It kind of sets the stage for whatever comes next.
And that leaves us with one last really big thought to chew on. Every single night, we all make a transition from being awake to being asleep. And almost always, we just black out. We do it unconsciously. So what if we tried to change that? What if we practice staying aware right through that moment when we fall asleep? Could that little bit of practice, night after night, be the training we need to learn how to navigate that final transition, the one from life to death, with consciousness, with awareness, and with grace? Something to think about for sure.